think that's going to be a hard sell, especially if we get out, as I think we will. So again, my point is, this war is decided. China is going to come into the region. It's going to be invited in, just as it was invited in, remember, between Saudi Arabia and Iran to settle those
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come back. And the Chinese have an interest because they draw heavily on all the resources that come out of there. Frankly, the Japanese and the Koreans will probably welcome that, because right now the Japanese, the Koreans, the people on Taiwan are very upset with us. I mean, we've
Even
destroyed
India.
their economies. You have all sorts of major plants that have declared force majeure. They're out. They're done. They're finished. That's our fault. We never consulted anybody. We acted with impunity, without discussing anything, without regard to the interests of others. Then, when it comes to NATO, we should have been out of NATO back 30 plus years ago. There was no reason for us to stay in that place. Once the former Soviet forces withdrew from Eastern Europe, we should have gotten out of Germany and out of Central Europe.
Yeah.
We stayed because we wanted to repurpose NATO for our interests. In other words, these were seen as vassal states. We treated Europe the way the Romans treated the Greek city-states. Provide us legions, give us troops, and then you can join us, but you have no sovereignty. And right now, I think the Europeans have figured that out. And I know that that's exactly what's happened in the Middle East. We treated the Gulf Emirates as dependencies, and we saw value in that for our own monetary gain. This is all going to end. So NATO is going to go away. NATO died on the battlefields of Ukraine. All this talk about intervening on Ukraine's behalf in some fashion, in some way, was always empty. The time for NATO to act against Russia, if it wanted to act at all,